When students are in third grade, they start building their understanding of fractions and they start reasoning with fractions. And one of the things that they do is to compare fractions. But in third grade, the comparison is pretty simple. It doesn't get too complex as all of the fractions that students compare in third grade have either common numerators or common denominators. So they're able to reason about their size just using that, the common numerators or common denominators. In fourth grade, students start comparing fractions, like the examples that you see here, 3/4 and 2/5. Which one is greater? Is 3/4 greater or is 3/4 less than 2/5? And so you'll notice that they do not have common numerators or common denominators. They have both different numerators and different denominators. So that same type of reasoning isn't applicable when students get into fourth grade as the problems get a little bit more sophisticated. And when students get here, this is where we start to see some tricks or some rules that get taught to help students just find the answer. But when we're thinking about these strategies to develop that numeracy and to develop that thinking, we want to use strategies that allow us to leverage reasoning and allow us to leverage understanding that we have and to build that understanding. And so this strategy for comparing fractions is going to use a benchmark value. And when I say benchmark value, one of the things that I might mean by that and do in this case, so if we'll see this number line that we have, I've modeled what I think are some really important benchmark values of fractions for students in fourth grade. And these benchmark values are fractions that are a little more common. They're fractions that students have typically a deeper understanding of. They're fractions that we use in real life, that they start talking about some of these as early as first or second grade. They start thinking about halves and quarters, and in third grade we give them their sort of official way of writing fractions where we have that numerator and denominator. But these are fractional values and sort of benchmark quantities that students have been developing an understanding around for a while. And so we can use these values to compare and help us determine which of these fractions is greater, is 3/4 greater than or less than 2/5. And so the way this works, I'm going to model this with the number line. I think a number line is a good way to see that. When I look at 3/4 and 2/5, I can compare both of these to that benchmark quantity of 1/2 because I know that 3/4 is greater than a half. And I'm just going to write that here. I know that 3/4 is greater than 1/2. In fact, 3/4 is one of those benchmark quantities. So 3/4, I'm just going to mark that right here. Here's our 3/4. 2/5 I know is less than 1/2 because 2 is less than half of 5. And I don't know exactly where on the number line 2/5 would go, but I do know that it's somewhere, if I kind of draw a line down 1/2, it's somewhere on the left side of that line. I know again that 2/5 is less than 1/2. And so even though I don't know exactly where 2/5 is on the number line, because I can compare both of them to 1/2, I know 3/4 is more than a half, 2/5 is less than a half, I can then determine that 3/4 is greater than 2/5. And so that's what it looks like to use that benchmark quantity to compare. So let's look at one more example. 7/8 and 3/4. I want to compare which one is 7/8 greater than 3/4 or is 7/8 less than 3/4. And this time I'm not going to use 1/2 as a benchmark because I know that both of them are greater than 1/2. They're both on that right side of that sort of line that I could draw at 1/2. So comparing to 1/2 wouldn't work. But here I could compare to 3/4 again because, well, 3/4 is one of my fractions here. And I know that 7/8, I don't know exactly where it goes on the number line, but I do know that it's going to be on this side of 3/4 because of some knowledge I have of equivalent fractions. I know that 6/8 is the same thing as 3/4. 6/8 is equivalent to 3/4. So that tells me that 7/8 has to be to the right of this line. 7/8 has to be over here somewhere. And so now I can compare them to that benchmark quantity of 3/4. I know that 7/8 is on the right of 3/4, so 7/8 is greater than 3/4. We can use this idea of benchmark quantities to make lots of comparisons. If we know how both of our fractions are related to a fraction that we have a better understanding of, we can make that comparison and determine without having to use any rules or tricks, and we can continue to build our understanding of fractions.